Welcome to the Open Systems Media Webcast, Windows 11 Update, and the top 10 reasons to consider Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021. In case you're wondering, LTSC stands for Long-Term Servicing Channel. This webcast is sponsored by Arrow Electronics. My name is Rich Nass, and I will be your moderator for this webcast. I am also the Executive Vice President of Open Systems Media. I lead the embedded IoT teams for embedded computing design. If you're not familiar with that property, you will find it is a great resource for anything related to the design of hardware and software for embedded systems. You can find it at www.embeddedcomputingdesign.com. I'm sorry, embeddedcomputing.com. Wow. It's filled with design articles, white papers, blogs, videos, podcasts, and lots more stuff. So on this webcast, you'll be hearing from Ken Marlin, a business development manager for Arrow Electronics. He is a Microsoft IoT business development manager for Arrow and a 3-time Microsoft MVP on Windows IoT products. In total, he has more than 35 years of experience in supporting all Microsoft products and channels. He also has a YouTube channel where he's known as the Windows Champ, which is actually a pretty cool place. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you check it out, and I get why he is called the Windows Champ. On that channel, he provides information on how to get started with Windows IoT products and other how-to informational videos. His specialty is helping customers, people like you, with complex licensing on Windows Server and SQL products, as well as Windows 10 IoT enterprises. Okay, so what can you expect to learn from this webinar? Well, I'm sure you could just figure it out from the title. I don't think I need to provide any further explanation. But in a nutshell, this is a roadmap for Windows 10 IoT Enterprise and its new features and a time frame for those features and what's new with Windows 11. Okay, before we move on, I have to go over some of the housekeeping stuff, so bear with me. The entire presentation will take about 45 minutes, and that'll leave us plenty of time to answer your questions. We'll answer as many as we have time for. On the console window, you'll find an area where you can enter those questions in real time. As I said, we will address as many as we have time when Ken is done. We tend to answer them in chronological order, so I encourage you to put your questions in as soon as you think of them. Don't wait until the presentation's over, because then we might run out of time and not get your question. If we do not answer your question as part of the webinar, somebody from Arrow Electronics will get back to you when we're done, but it'll be likely via email. So every question gets answered, but if we don't have time, it won't be part of the webcast. If you have a question pertaining to the operation of the webcast, like if the slides don't advance right or there's a problem with the audio, put that into the question box and one of our technicians will get back to you with a fix. There's a maximize button there that lets you see the slides in a larger window. And this webcast will be available in archive version shortly after we're done. So if you want to go back and review, or if you want to forward it to a friend or a colleague, it'll be there for you. We also have some poll questions embedded into the presentation. We would love to get your feedback on some of these issues that Ken will be going through. It'll be self-explanatory in how you respond, but we'd love to hear your responses. Okay, that is all I got. Let's bring Ken out to start this presentation.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I'm super excited to have you guys join the webinar today. Thank you, Rich, for that. Thank you for going over that info. You know, it's been a while since we've had some new stuff to talk about with the Microsoft products, since most of all the last big launches were back in 2019. And so I'm really excited today to get you guys up to speed on Windows 11. And also go over the top 10 reasons to consider the new Windows 10 LTSC 2021. When we first scheduled this webinar, it was going to be focused on the new Windows 10 LTSC 2021. But as everyone knows now, Microsoft surprisingly launched Windows 11. And so it was a perfect timing to squeeze some of that info in here, because we kind of got overwhelmed by questions on Windows 11. So today, got some great information to go over with you guys and get you guys caught up to speed on Windows 11 and the new Windows 10. So from an agenda that I'm going to cover for you guys, I'm going to introduce our Arrow team. I'll introduce myself and the Arrow team that we have that covers Microsoft. And then I'm going to cover the Windows 11 consumer general use as well as Windows 11 IoT news. It's kind of hard not to cover one versus the other. It's important for you to know the differences between the two. And so when you hear the news about Windows 11, you can kind of understand the difference between the consumer general purpose news and the IoT news. And then, of course, how does the Windows 11 news affect the Windows 10 products, both the Windows 10 consumer as well as the IoT? We'll dive into that stuff as well. And then we'll get to the meat of the presentation, which is the 10 reasons to consider the new Windows 10 LTSC 2021. So let me introduce the team here at Arrow. So our Microsoft team here at Arrow is an amazing team. You know, together we have over 100 years of experience on Microsoft products and licensing. And so the makeup is 4 highly experienced IoT experts. And I'll start with myself. My name is Ken Marlin. I'm located in Phoenix, Arizona. And I have, you know, as Rich stated earlier, 35 years of experience on Microsoft products. And over my career, I've supported all Microsoft product and programs, but the last 20 years has been on embedded IoT products. So that's definitely my specialty. And I am a 3-time MVP on Windows IoT products. So we recently added Diane Henderson. She is our Microsoft product champion. She's located in St. Augustine, Florida. She has 25 years of industry experience and has supported Microsoft for many, many years, and is wonderful to add her to the team. Certainly helping me out, especially as we go into these new product launches. So it's great. And then Scott Schmiel, he's been on the team for quite a while. I've been with Arrow for going on 15 years, I believe. He's located in Houston, Texas, and he has 25 years as well. So his focus, though, has been sort of changed lately to the Azure IoT cloud services. So if you are thinking of connecting your devices to the cloud, that's when we'll get Scott involved. And he certainly has years of experience around supporting folks with the Azure IoT cloud. And then lastly, supporting Europe, we have Che Chu. And Che's based in the Netherlands, and he joined Arrow back in 2019, and he has 15 years of experience. So together, you know, we have over 100 years of experience on Microsoft products. I don't think any of our competitors can even come close to that. But so I definitely wanted to make sure you guys are aware of that. The other thing we like to do is we personally assist you through the entire process of joining the embedded IoT program. So if you're new to the program, you're going to get a personal assistance through the program, which is those little blue boxes at the bottom there. So signing the agreement, getting the software, getting yourself a key and testing, as well as then purchasing the COA sticker licenses and then selling, shipping, and supporting your product. So we hold your hand through that process. We have all sorts of tools and checklists and customization guides and things that can help you get your product launched and get it to market pretty quickly. And for customers that have been around a while, you know our turnaround time is extremely fast. We pride ourselves on getting back to you as quick as possible. And then, as Rich also noted, I do have a YouTube channel with how-to licensing, roadmap videos, and things to kind of keep you guys up to speed. And I will say that I've held back some of the Windows 11 stuff on my YouTube channel because I was saving it for this webinar. So hopefully after this webinar, if you go out to the YouTube channel, you'll start to see more Windows 11 and also the LTSC 2021 stuff as it becomes available from Microsoft. So the other thing to mention is we also support IoT Edge to Azure Cloud Services, and also the program does have available Windows Server and SQL database. So it's not just the client product, but also the server products that are available as well. So as a reminder, again, our focus is really on the OEM embedded IoT space. So I just wanted to throw up a slide that shows you the different industry verticals that obviously this channel focuses on. So if you're building any type of dedicated appliance for any of these verticals, and this is just a handful of them, there's actually quite a bit more, but any type of dedicated type system where you're going to load an OS on a piece of hardware, then put an application on top of it, make it into a dedicated device. And certainly there are some industries that sort of get into the gray area. And if you feel you might be in there where you might not qualify or qualify, that's our specialty. Reach out to us. Let's talk through it. Because there's a lot of misconceptions out there about the IoT channel, about what qualifies and what doesn't. And we can certainly talk you through that. But our focus today is on the IoT channel. However, I will be talking a little bit about the consumer general use stuff as well, just so that you know the difference between the two. So as we jump into Windows 11, we're going to start off with Windows 11. And I'm going to first cover the Windows 11 non-IoT commercial products, which was the big announcement recently, June 24th it was. And then I will talk about the Windows 11 IoT products, both the SAC and the LTSC products. And my goal today is to give you every bit of information that Microsoft has released and sort of simplify it and sort of clarify the differences between the commercial versus the IoT. And then we'll talk about the Windows 10 commercial, non-IoT, as well as the Windows 10 IoT products. Again, how the Windows 11 affects those products. So let me introduce you to Windows 11. This is the screenshot of the desktop. I'm hoping most of you have seen this already. It was announced to the world on June 24th. And again, it was kind of perfect timing with this webinar because it gives us a chance to talk about it. And I want to sort of give you my personal experience with it so far. So I went out and got the insider preview version of it and started playing around with it. Loaded it in a couple of virtual machines, and it actually loaded up just surprisingly, extremely quickly and well in a virtual machine. But when I went to load it on a physical machine, Microsoft has added some new requirements around a trusted platform module, or TPM 2.0 module. When you load it into the VM, it doesn't look for that module, but when you load it on physical hardware, it certainly does. And so typically the hardware would have to be newer. On today's webinar, we're not going to dive into TPM too much. I just want to give you guys a quick view of my experience. I actually loaded this on my primary machine here at home because when I loaded it on a couple of test machines, it went so well that I actually decided to give it a try on my main machine. And I've been running on my main machine for a couple of weeks now and without a single issue. It's actually been extremely smooth. The big thing you'll notice from the screenshot is the start button and the icons are in the middle of the screen versus to the far left. I actually like this so far because I have an ultra wide monitor. But if you don't like that and you want to keep it where it was, there's a setting to put that back. And Microsoft is smoothing up the icons, making the corners rounded and making it a little bit more pleasing to look at. But there's certainly a lot more features that hopefully we'll cover as Microsoft releases more information about this product. So I've got the actual full URL for the blog and the introduction that was announced on June 24th, where Microsoft, came out and announced to the world that they're not going to continue. They basically made a retirement date for Windows 10, and they are kind of doing what they said they weren't going to do, which is it was going to be Windows 10 forever, but they decided to come out with Windows 11. And I think timing is actually pretty good for this scenario because we haven't had any new products for a while. Launching a big Windows 11 is a good thing. The confusion part for a lot of my IoT customers, however, is that they didn't mention one single thing about IoT in that announcement, and they focus strictly on the consumer non-IoT products. So let me go through these bullet points with you just to make sure you're clear on the non-IoT version. So Windows 11 Home and Pro will be available on select direct OEM devices this holiday season. That's your Dell, HP, Lenovo, the direct OEMs. They will be releasing some products for the holiday season with Windows 11 Home Pro. And then Home and Pro will not be available as a standalone product until next year in 2022. Windows 11 will be available to Inside Preview members. And yes, that's where I got my copy of it and been playing with it in the Insider Preview program. Windows 11 will only get one new feature build per year. And we're saying bye to the semi-annual channel or twice annually feature builds. And I love that because the twice a year thing was certainly starting to become very complex and very difficult for admins to keep up with. The Home and Pro build release will get 24 months of support. Again, I like this as well. Previously, the Windows 10 builds were 18 months of support and 30 months, depending on which release, because there were 2 a year. Add a lot of complexity to the support roadmap. And with Windows 11 Home and Pro, 2 years, 24 months, makes things super simple. The Windows 11 Enterprise, and again, making sure, this is the non-IoT version. The Windows 11 Enterprise and Education builds will get 36 months of support. And then select qualifying Windows 10 systems will get a free upgrade to Windows 11 sometime next year. So we don't know which ones will qualify. If maybe they all will, maybe certain ones, we don't know, but they did say just select qualifying systems will get a free upgrade to Windows 11. And again, there's the URL if you want to go see that actual announcement back on June 24th about the Windows 11 consumer products. And again, nothing on IoT was mentioned at all in that presentation. So let's talk about the IoT version of Windows 11. So I am showing you a roadmap that does have Windows 10 on it, but I just wanted to basically show an LTSC roadmap with the nice purple Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC at the bottom. The thing is, it was a couple weeks later, actually it was 1 week later, July 2nd, is when the IoT division did speak up and they wrote their own blog. And I do have the link there, I just don't have it typed out for you. But there is a Windows IoT blog where they did come out and basically I have the statement there. We will also release IoT versions of Windows 11 and Server 2022. The first release of Windows 11 IoT Enterprise will have a servicing timeline of 36 months from the month of release. So that tells us it's going to be the old, what we did refer to as SAC, but we can't anymore because it's not twice a year, it's once a year. So we know the first release is not going to be an LTSC version. It's going to be the old SAC version. And we have no dates. So if you look at the roadmap there, it's a TBD for the launch and a TBD for the end of life and end of support dates. So we do not know when there will be an LTSC version. At this time, Microsoft has not given us any dates for LTSC Windows 11. But we know there will be one. We just don't know when. So, and my goal is to get you guys that information as soon as it's made available. So if we then look at the Windows 11 IoT non-LTSC, so I'm kind of referring to the old SAC as non-LTSC because, again, it's not semi-annual anymore. It's going to be once a year. So their statement, again, is it's, the first release is going to be 36 months. So we do know, and we do know that it'll get 36 months of support. So I can easily draw out the roadmap here, but it's a roadmap with no dates in it. So if you notice, it just kind of has years. So I would expect that we'll see the non-LTSC version of the Windows 11 IoT Enterprise in 2022. And then we know it'll get 36 months. So basically, we do have a roadmap here. We just don't have the exact dates until Microsoft provides us that information. So the point here is we know that there will be an LTSC, and we do know that there'll be a non-LTSC version coming. We just don't have the date yet. So let's jump into a poll question. I'm going to hand it over to Rich to give you guys our first poll question.
Thanks, Ken. You take a sip of water or do whatever you need to do for 1 second while we answer this poll question. Would you be interested in using Windows 11 for your appliance? No, I'll stick with Windows 10. Yes, I'll want to use Windows 11 ASAP. Yes, but only if it's been available for at least a year, and we won't get into why you want to wait. And the last one is other. And Ken, did you jump the gun on me?
I didn't know. I didn't hit anything. So,
Okay. All right. Well, this is about what we're getting. Wow. Surprised by that, Ken? Is that what you're expecting?
The most of our customers use LTSC, so they typically would wait. Most OEMs do wait at least a year, and that's probably around the time frame of the first LTSC, in my opinion. It'll probably be a year before we see the Windows 11 LTSC. It's actually 97% of our OEMs use the LTSC version versus the non-LTSC version. So, and when you build an appliance, you want something that's going to be solid and not untested.
Is that the reason for waiting the year, to make sure that,
absolutely,
hate to use the B word, but make sure that there's no bugs in there? Give it a year to shake out? Okay, cool. And awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you to the audience for participating.
Yeah, and I can see certainly there's some people there that are going to stick with Windows 10, which again for appliances makes a lot of sense. So there's our final results, and I'll move on. So let's address the Windows 10 products, the IoT roadmaps. How does the Windows 11 affect the Windows 10? Does the announcement of Windows 11 change anything to our current roadmaps for the Windows 10? Certainly with an announcement of a retirement date for Windows 10, that has to affect Windows 10 IoT, right? So let's jump into that. As I did with Windows 11, let's start with the consumer non-IoT products. So here are the facts that we know when it comes to the regular Windows 10 Home Pro and Enterprise non-IoT products. So the Home Pro and Enterprise non-IoT will continue with a 21H2 release this fall. So just as this new LTSC 2021 product is going to be released this fall, the regular non-IoT products will also have a build 21H2 release this fall. Nothing stops that. It'll keep right on going. What did happen is before, those products did not have end-of-life dates because Microsoft was going to continue with Windows 10 forever. But they've changed their minds now. So they launched Windows 11 and they gave Windows 10 a retirement date. So out on the official Microsoft support cycle page, they have given a retirement date of October 2025. The other thing I want to really point out too that's important to know is for the non-IoT enterprise product, they recently made an announcement about Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC support being reduced to 5 years. And that really confused a lot of our customers. But you have to notice that the word IoT was not in the name of that, right? So the IoT version remains at 10 years of support. The non-IoT version of Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC is reduced to 5 years. And then we'll see how that comes into play with the roadmap here. But let's look at the IoT version, the SAC version. So what we don't know, we do know 100% that there's going to be a build 21H2 this fall. But Microsoft at this time hasn't released any new information as far as will there be any more builds after that of Windows 10. And it's the same for the Windows 10 IoT product. We don't know if they're going to go if 21H2 is the last build of Windows 10 or if there's going to be additional builds. So once we know that info, we'll let you know. But there's certainly some time frame in there that would allow it. But Microsoft might choose to say, we're done with 10. This is the last build. They just haven't answered that question for us yet, both on the consumer and the IoT. We don't know if that is the last build. But my opinion, it probably is. Again, we don't know for sure. So then if we look at the LTSC roadmap, which, again, you saw this slide earlier, but I was addressing it with Windows 11 LTSC to specifically focus on the Windows 10 LTSC and also looking at the dark blue LTSC 2021, which is kind of the focus of this webinar, which we're going to get to, the top 10 reasons to use it. That product is absolutely, staying on schedule. It will be released this fall. We just don't have the exact launch date. So we don't have the exact launch date. We just know it is this fall. And then, of course, based on the fact that it is this fall, we know that, you're obviously going to get 10 years of life and 10 years of support. So, and all the other 2015, 2016, 2019, nothing changes with those products. The dates are already firm. However, again, if you're on 2015 or 2016, you should probably consider moving to this new 2021 product, because it's going to get you, 10 more years, taking you well into the 2030s. So, or into the first part of 2030s, I should say. So, let's get to the meat of the presentation. So, as I said earlier, the focus of this was to give you guys the top 10 reasons to use the new Windows 10 LTSC 2021. And I've basically taken a lot of the information that Microsoft is still willing to release that isn't NDA, and put them into a top 10 list. And we will cover those counting down like a regular countdown, top 10 countdown. So let's start with reason number 10. Speed to market. So the Windows 10 platform obviously is built, it's built on a foundation of over 1 billion active Windows 10 devices. So when you decide to use this Windows 10 platform, you're obviously leveraging years and years and billions of devices and knowledge, as well as many, many tools and existing technologies to get you your product launched quickly. You can grab this product. It's based on the Windows 10 platform, load your stuff and go. It's very, very quick to take something and make an appliance and get to market quickly with this. It obviously is also built heavily trusted and secure. So it's going to keep your device's data and identity secure, which is definitely what you want for an appliance. You want peace of mind to keep that appliance running and secure. And then you get all the latest smart IoT technology so that you can connect these devices to the cloud and drive real business insight and create new business opportunities. So you can add to your device. Don't think of it as additional expense, but think of it as additional value add and additional opportunities to make your product different than your competitors and allow it to do many extra things that a connected device can do. And reason number 9, honestly, after I had this deck built, I honestly probably wanted to move this one to much higher in the list. But soft real time for Windows IoT. Super excited to get to talk to you guys about this feature here that's going to be in the LTSC 2021. It's this, in comparison to the old hard real time, which is your Windows CE family of products, you could typically use, the hard real time was like with a pacemaker or something that it had to have 100% real time for it to be accurate. This new soft real time feature is for someone who's building an appliance that you need to control the application timing to some degree, but you're okay with a little bit of it being off. So, and in today's world, with so many different other things grabbing the core and grabbing the different processes in the system, this will give you the ability, those key real-time features will basically allow you to reserve cores specifically for your application, lock those cores down so that nothing else can take over those cores, and prevent other things from coming in and taking over the processor. And that way, if you have something that's like robotic or machine driven or industrial, where something when it starts, it has to finish at a certain time, but you do have a little bit of leeway. So it's not, you're not requiring full hard real time. This feature is something that will definitely help you guys. And I'm glad that we get to talk about this feature. And I know Microsoft will be releasing more information as we get closer to the fall release date. So reason number 8 is Azure IoT Edge for Linux on Windows. Again, another really long Microsoft name. That's why they reduced it. So the nickname is eFlow, Edge for Linux on Windows, or eFlow. And this addresses an issue where you have a lot of OEMs who have the need to run Linux workloads, or they want to, there's a huge library of already existing Linux workloads that obviously run on Linux, but you want to be able to run it on a Windows platform. So Microsoft came out with this platform, and it actually already launched. And there is a blog and a couple links there for you, where if you want more information, you can go get it right now. It does not require LTSC 2021. It will actually run on anything Windows 2019 or newer. So if this is something that interests you, you can already do this today. However, the launching is kind of timed perfectly with LTSC 2021. So I definitely wanted to add it into the top 10 reasons here. Again, it basically allows you to run a Linux workload in a VM on top of your Windows platform. And for those that run mixed environments, or you're running into a situation where you're trying to sell your Windows device to a Linux house, this addresses that issue. And I know I had a second slide on this that builds out. So let me build it out here. Again, a couple of links there to the private preview and the documents. And again, it's already available now, launched in June. And the picture on the right basically shows you a Windows IoT host with the Linux kernel running in a VM. And again, it gives you the ability they have an entire library of already existing Linux workloads that you can go download from Microsoft and now run it on your Windows IoT host. So again, if you're interested in that, make sure and go check that out. Reason number 7 is your improved Kiosk lockdown modes. So when it comes to appliances, you absolutely want to lock them down. And we've got 2 that I've combined into this reason number 7. So we'll start with the Microsoft Edge Kiosk mode. So Edge Kiosk mode, it gives you 2 lockdowns. It's really good for digital signage and kiosk scenarios where you might need a public browsing experience. And it allows you to use the Edge browser, lock it down, make it where it only shows certain specific things. Secondly, more importantly too, is the Shell Launcher version 2. So Shell Launcher version 2, it allows you now to run both a Win32 app and a universal Windows platform app at the same time. You can automatically launch, previously you could only do one or the other. Now you can do both. And it also supports multi-monitors. So previously you kind of had to, when you launched it, you were locked into one screen. Now you got multi-screen capability. So, and then lastly is the UWP on-screen keyboard. So one of the reasons people really like to use the universal Windows app on-screen keyboard, and they couldn't with their Win32 app. So with this new Shell Launcher, you can use your Win32 app with the UWP on-screen keyboard. Lots of OEMs are jumping on that and find that as a really good feature. Reason number 6 is the Device Update Center, also known as the DUC, the DUC, the Device Update Center service. So it also is, it'll be available with LTSC 2021. It was previously only available to IoT Core. So the folks that use the extremely limited and and free, it didn't cost anything, the IoT Core product, there was a service you could get that allowed you to control and manage those IoT Core devices. And Microsoft is now bringing that to the LTSC 2021, the enterprise family of products. It is an Azure subscription service, but it allows you to control not only just the not only just the Windows operating system, but it allows you to manage your application as well as your hardware, drivers, and firmware. So manage the entire device, the OS, the app, the hardware, drivers, and firmware. And you get to use Microsoft's Update Center service. So the same service that you get Windows updates from, you would be managing your entire device with this service. So make sure and check out what we call the DUC, the Device Update Center service. Reason number 5 is years of improvement over 1809. So with Build 21H2, it's the 6th full release of Windows 10 since the last LTSC 2019 was launched. So You're getting 3 years of Microsoft updates over the previous LTSC version. And as we've already covered, it's got quite a bit of improved lockdown and branding control. One thing I wanted to do is I have a link here that you can go to that will show you every single feature that was added to each build. So the little colored blocks there are the different build versions of Windows 10. And if you literally want to dive in and see what what was added with each build, that's your website. So make sure and go check that out. And you'll see 21H1 and 21H2 when they make that available, every single feature that is added. Reason number 4 is the Apos Virtual Appliance Program. This is another program I'm extremely excited to announce and bring to you guys. So it's a separate program, not necessarily a feature of LTSC 2021, but it is, again, another timing scenario where it's being made available right at the time that this LTSC 2021 is becoming available. This program is now available, and it's something that I've actually asked Microsoft to make available for probably over 10 years now. It's going to be really good for some of our OEMs, and some of our OEMs won't have any interest in it. But it gives you the ability to now sell a 100% virtual appliance without hardware. So today, when you sign the CLA for the IoT program, there's requirements in that agreement that says you have to install the Windows onto hardware and sell it as a hardware appliance. For some of our customers, especially coming from an ISV side, they love to take their appliance, put it all together into a virtual machine, and then just sell it as a virtual machine without hardware. And you've never been able to do that before. But Microsoft is now, for the first time in history, in the IoT channel, making that available and making it an option. I will point out the name. So Apos, it kind of sounds weird, but it stands for after point of sale. It basically means that the customer has already purchased the hardware. So it's kind of after the purchase of the hardware. They can now buy your appliance and add it to their existing hardware. So I know some of our OEMs have they have very unique accessories and very unique hardware. So this type of thing's not going to fit you. But for other customers who don't have a need for very specific hardware, and in today's environment where it might be difficult to even get some hardware, you now have an option to sign an amendment to the CLA. You'll contact us. We'll work through an amendment that basically then removes that hardware requirement. And there are some special part numbers and pricing for this program. It is available for the Windows 10, 2019 and 2021, as well as the Server 2019 and possibly Server 2022 when it launches. So again, if that sounds any remotely possible for you, you can reach out to us. We can dig into it and talk more about it. Reason number 3, optimize smaller footprint. This one was a big deal a few years ago. It seems to be getting not as big a deal lately. I think for some OEMs, it's still very important. That's why I made it number 3 on the list. But the 2019 version on the bottom left, it certainly had a much bigger footprint than the IoT Core and the older CE and OS 7 products. And so Microsoft goal, and of course the Windows 10 builds sort of start to creep up a little bit over time. So the goal with LTSC 2021 is to reduce that footprint and getting it even down to the 8 gig range, possibly. Today, and it's been available for a while, there is already a guide that would help you reduce the footprint on LTSC 2019. A lot of that stuff will work with LTSC 2021, and we'll have to see when the product launches what this footprint ends up being. But again, the goal with Microsoft with LTSC 2021 is to reduce that footprint, making it smaller, taking up less space for the OS, and also saving you money on storage hardware. We're to another poll question. I'll hand it to Rich, and I'll hit the button.
Thank you very much.
I'll hit the button here.
Hit the button. Okay, folks, which of these features are most important for your application? Select all that apply. Azure IoT Edge for Linux on Windows, Device Update Center, Dual Display Support, Reduced Footprint, or Soft Real-Time Capability. Hey, Ken, just by the way, what I learned in the meantime is that the audience can't see the responses that we're seeing now. So that's our little insight. So if we want to cheat and say, if I say, hey, which one do you think is going to come out on top? We could cheat because we know which one's coming.
Yeah, you can sway this vote a little bit.
Yeah. It is until you hit the button that they can see the results.
Ah, okay. Yeah, they didn't get to see the results too much last time, so we'll let them do that.
No, they did not. So I think we're settled in. I think you could hit the button and show them what they told us. There you go.
So soft real time and reduced footprint. Okay, so a lot of people want the reduced footprint. Okay, that's good. To know. I was starting to think it was not as big a deal this lately. So device update center. That's good. Dual display support.
So the Windows champ did not see any surprises.
That looks about what I'm expecting. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's good.
All right. Can't fool you.
Speaking of dual display, so reason number 2, and yeah, lots of folks want that dual display capability, and that I had mentioned that with the Shell Launcher V2, but Microsoft is taking it a step further with dual touch and dual screen and dual touch input. So in a scenario, in this case, we're showing 2 examples: point of sale, a cashier with a customer. That's becoming extremely more popular these days. And Microsoft is adding that feature to the Windows 10 LTSC 2021 that will give you both dual touch as well as dual screen. And then also there's a medical, a patient working with a doctor. That's a scenario too. But any type of scenario where you might have dual screens and you want to interact both of them at the same time, that is a big feature for the LTSC 2021. And that leads us to reason number 1. Which is it isn't Windows 11. So I kind of had to poke fun a little bit at the Windows 11. But again, my experience with the Windows 11 has been, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised. It's going really well for the launch of a new product. But at the same time, if you're an OEM and you're building a hardware appliance, the latest and greatest thing isn't technically what you're wanting. So that's why I made this reason number 1. Technically, what you want is more than likely the last version of Windows 10, and certainly the last LTSC version of Windows 10 IoT, because you're looking, for something that's going to give you 10 years of support, taking you all the way to 2032. It is also based on 6 years and 13 releases of Windows 10. So, you're getting the best of the best of the best of Windows 10 IoT, which is what you want: stability, reliability, security, years of improvements, and you want that long life cycle. So for any of you on the older LTSC products, you're more than likely going to want to move to the LTSC 2021, not Windows 11. And then you'll look at Windows 11 LTSC later as they make more information available about that. All right, let's do one more poll question here. I'll hit the button here.
You really put me to work here, Ken. I thought you were doing all that part. Okay, this is an easy one. Would you like to talk to the Arrow experts in the next week about any of the following: licensing, SQL Server IoT, Windows Server IoT, Windows 10 IoT Enterprise, Microsoft Azure, something else, or no, don't bother me? Will this be speaking with you directly, Ken? Do they get a direct line to you?
It's possible to get me, but certainly our team will be addressing the questions. So I'm part of the team, so absolutely. Well, as a team, we'll be addressing the questions. So again, if you want to reach out and let us too. This isn't one we're going to show the results on for you guys, but definitely we would like to know if there's any specific of these products that you want to hear from us about.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Cool. I'm gonna move on. Sorry, Rich, cut you off. All right. So to finish wrap things up here, things to consider. I just want to remind you, when you're choosing an operating system for a dedicated appliance, you obviously want something that's long-term support. Something that's going to give you 10 years of life and 10 years of support. You also want something that you want control over the updating. You don't want to be constantly pounding with Windows updates. You want just security patches and bug fixes. That's why you're going to want a long-term service channel operating system versus a non-LTSC. So don't go with Windows 10 Pro when you can go with IoT and get 10 years of support and have full control over the Windows updates. And then, of course, you want something very secure to keep your product secure. You want the ability to manage that device with tons of different management options. And then you want a full-featured OS, not one that's completely stripped down bare bones. Although the LTSC product does strip some stuff out, it's still based on Windows 10 Enterprise, which is a full-featured operating system, giving you all the features you need for your appliance. I want to mention our website. Make sure you bookmark this website, this URL here. This is our Arrow Microsoft website. And the one thing I want to mention here is we keep this website updated quite a bit. And we have lots of neat tools and checklists and customization guides and different things out there. Always check our Arrow Microsoft website. We pride ourselves on trying to keep it updated constantly. Oh, here's our website. There's the URL. I also wrote some blogs. We try to do quite a bit of information through blogs. I do have a blog out there on LTSC 2021. I also wrote a blog called The Microsoft Product Key is Not the License, which, again, everyone thinks the key is the license when it's not. It's the COA sticker. And so go check out that blog. And we'll continue. I do plan on adding some Windows 11 blogs out here fairly soon as more information starts become available. And then my YouTube channel, we mentioned it earlier at the beginning of the webinar, but I recently added 5 new videos out there. Go out there, hit the subscribe button. And again, I plan on adding some Windows 11 content as well as some more LTSC 2021 content as it becomes available. My YouTube channel is the quickest way to get information to you guys right now. So that is a primary focus of getting the latest information. So use my YouTube channel. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for attending. Our email address to our team, msembedded@arrow. I know we're going to answer questions here, so don't head out just yet. If you want to dig into some of the questions, we'll get to that. But if you want to reach out to us, msembedded@arrow.com.
Okay, Ken, take a sip of water, and we're going to get to these questions now. Ask them now, folks. I did not realize you were such a prolific blogger. If you'd like to step in my shoes for a little while, I'm sure we could work something out.
Hey, maybe. Absolutely. Yeah, I like writing blogs.
Sounds good. All right, let's see how you do answering questions. Okay, first question. What are the differences between Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC and Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC?
Great question, and it's actually one of the top questions we get. And I actually have a licensing guide out on our website that you can download. That's a licensing guide on Windows 10 IoT Enterprise, and in it I have a section that has a chart that compares the two side by side. But ultimately, Windows 10 Enterprise is for general purpose use. It's a very expensive upgrade. It's intended for corporate America to take that Windows 10 Pro system and upgrade it to Enterprise and be used for, general use stuff. And again, it's a volume upgrade that goes on top of a system that already has a Windows 10 Pro license. So if you're building an appliance, don't do that. Come buy the full OEM license at a much cheaper price and get a lot of other things. The non-IoT Enterprise version only gets 5 years of support. The IoT version gets 10 years, and it's cheaper and gives you a lot better control. So appliance, use the IoT version.
Cool. Okay. Does Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC update include feature updates or just quality updates? As it has support for 10 years with 2 to 3 years Windows updates time frame. Got that?
Yeah, perfect. So the LTSC version, it locks you into a specific build of Windows 10. And in this case, the older 2019 locked you into build 1809, and it only gets quality updates, which is your security patches and hotfixes. It never gets any new features or a new build. And in the case of the new LTSC 2021, it will be locked into build 21H2, and you will only get security patches and hotfixes. No new features to come along or new builds that could actually, cause an issue with your appliance.
Okay, let me paraphrase this one. What the heck do you mean about standalone product?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm talking about like the fact that you could go and you can actually buy a copy of, they call it OEM system builder, in some cases retail also, a standalone copy of Windows 10 Home or Windows 10 Pro. In this case, Windows 11 Home and Pro standalone, meaning you just buy the license without hardware. That product won't be available until 2022. And then, of course, the IoT version of Windows 11, you guys would sign the agreement and then you buy the product and then put it on your hardware.
Okay, I think you answered this, but let's just be sure. Any rough estimate for release dates on LTSC 2021?
We still don't have an exact date. Microsoft will just say this fall. That's their statement. I honestly believe it'll be October. So my estimation is October. Still don't know the exact date within October, but I would expect October. The official answer is this fall.
The Windows 10 champ doesn't get to determine the release dates?
Man, I wish I could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Can you
cool.
explain? Would you explain the difference between Windows 10 IoT LTSC and Windows 10 LTSC? Didn't we answer that?
I think we covered that one. Yeah, we answered that one already.
Yes. Yeah, two people asked the same question. Sorry about that. Okay. How can I verify that I'm running the IoT Enterprise version and not just Enterprise? When I run WinVer, I don't see IoT mentioned anywhere.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a common one we get a lot, because when you install, specifically talking about the 2019 LTSC product that's been around for a while, when you install it, it doesn't say IoT because IoT is actually the name of the channel. And so the way you would know, is it would have a COA sticker license, and you also would want to make sure you know where you downloaded that media from, which should be an authorized location like Microsoft Software Order Center or from a distributor like Arrow. We would make sure you had the IoT version. But you're right, when you install it, it won't say IoT. It'll say Windows 10 Enterprise, and it will say build 1809 or version 1809. But to make sure you have the correct product, get with us. We'll make sure you have the right media.
Okay. You good? Okay. Let's see. About support. Some hardware vendors don't explicitly support Windows 10 IoT, particularly on notebooks. How does Microsoft deal with support in such cases?
Yeah. For a lot of OEMs, hardware OEMs, you're right. They may not have IoT, Windows 10 IoT Enterprise listed as a support, but typically they'll have Windows 10 Enterprise, and technically the product is the same. So when it comes to support with the IoT channel, you're kind of on your own in some cases. So what you'd want to do is join the program, get yourself the full product, and then start testing. Odds are very high that it's going to work just fine because it is based on the full Windows 10 Enterprise product. However, if you were to call that direct OEM, you may not be able to get support for them, but you would be able to get support through the IoT channel, through Arrow. We have a team of engineers. We can support you. We also have the ability to open a support ticket with Microsoft. If you run into any serious type of technical issues, we can help you out of that as well.
Okay. All righty. Will I be able to upgrade from Windows 10 IoT Enterprise SAC build 21H2 to Windows 11 IoT Enterprise, or will a new license be required?
We don't know the answer to that yet. In the SAC, with the Windows 10 SAC, when you bought a Windows 10 SAC license, you had the right to move between every build. And it might be the possibility to move to Windows 11. I honestly don't believe so. I think when you switch from a version to a newer version, it's going to require a new license. But right now, Microsoft has not answered that question for us. So we will have to wait and see if that is going to be a free upgrade. Now, LTSC licenses, you definitely have to buy a new license. So if you were going to go from Windows 10 LTSC version to Windows 11 LTSC when it becomes available, that will require a new license. Again, Microsoft hasn't told us that either, but LTSC to LTSC, you always had to. SAC, we don't know the answer, so we'll find out.
Okay. Let's see. This is a longer one, so bear with me. We are developing a device for the military that uses IoT Core as the operating system. Unfortunately, this means that our device is never connected to the internet. Are there any changes coming that might benefit us in terms of ease of updating in this scenario?
Yeah, today, that's another misconception too. The IoT Enterprise product does not require being connected to the internet. So as well, the IoT Core and Enterprise, both of those products did not require being connected to the internet. So you can certainly, I have lots of military customers that use IoT Enterprise as well, and in the case of this new LTSC 2021, it does not require being connected to the internet. You can absolutely build a 100% offline device. You don't even have to activate it. The activation is optional for offline devices. And then even in situations where if it did need to be activated for some reason, which happens from time to time, you can do telephone activation. So offline versus online should not be any concern when it comes to Core versus Enterprise. The Enterprise can absolutely be 100% offline.
Okay. We're getting down to it, but we got time for a couple more. Which web browser version is part of 21H2?
I've been playing with some of the preview versions, and it definitely has the Edge browser in there, the new Edge browser. I don't know. We'll probably follow up with an answer on that one to confirm if they're gonna, what's happening with the old browser, the IE11 versus the Edge, and there certainly are options to install those after the fact as well. But when it launches, we don't know. I don't know the answer completely, so we'll follow up and get a solid answer on that.
Okay, let's see. Can I use Windows 10 IoT EP license for a standard PC if it is used not for general purpose stuff like Office, but for special uses like medical applications?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you take the Windows 10 IoT. I don't know what EP is, but Enterprise. Maybe he's talking about just Enterprise. Windows 10 IoT Enterprise license, and yeah, you can take a standard PC and load IoT Enterprise on it. The requirement is it has to be an appliance like a medical device. So absolutely, yeah, that's what you do.
Okay, last one, Ken. Can we use Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC for internal use as long as a COA/license is attached to the system?
Yeah, no, so absolutely. So internal use, as long as the COA sticker license is applied, the device is licensed, and you can use it, again, for a dedicated purpose. And we definitely have situations where customers use those internally. There's not an issue with that. I want to mention one thing that I didn't speak about in this webinar, and I do see one of the questions there that has to do with Android support and running Android applications. And that is a new feature with Windows 11. So one of the big new features with Windows 11 that I didn't address is the fact that they are going to, or they're telling us that they're going to be able to run Android applications on the Windows 10 device, which is huge for our IoT side of the business. So I don't have enough information to address that fully. Or in this case, the question is it backwards compatible to this Win 10 LTSC 2021? I doubt it'll be backwards compatible to the Windows 10 family. Don't have the answer to that, but certainly a huge feature just to mention with Windows 11 is the ability to run an Android app on the Windows 11 platform. So hopefully as more information becomes available with that, I will do some YouTube videos on that and get some information, because that is a big thing for our IoT customers.
Awesome. That was a great job, Ken. I'm afraid that's all we have time for, though. So I would like to thank Ken for sticking with us for an hour, for answering a whole bunch of questions, and either he or somebody else from Arrow will get back to you with a response if we did not answer your question. I'd also like to thank Arrow Electronics for sponsoring this event. And of course, we could not do any of these things without you, the engineer. A final reminder that all Open Systems Media webcasts are copyrighted and may not be recorded without prior permission. So thank you all for attending, and I hope you have a great day.